The title of this podcast is It's Kind of Like That. So, this is a story about how I believe that my experience of life, situations, and events, including people, are a reflection of what's going on inside of me. And when I'm working on myself to really be peaceful, to cultivate that, to give love out into the world, then life reflects that. When I haven't done that, life is reflect the exact opposite of what I mentioned before. All the good things, the positive things. And there's a story that I heard that really describes this or depicts this quite well. And it's a story in which two people on separate occasions are traveling to a town on vacation. So let's take the first person. He comes to a town and he meets a gentleman on the park bench, and they're looking out over a lake, and it's beautiful out. And this is his first time in the town. He says to the person who's been there for his whole life, and he says to the person, "Man, your town is so great. I'm thinking about moving here." He was like, "Before I do so, what are the people like here?" He says, "Well, tell me about the people, how the people are, where you coming from." He says, "Well, the people back there, they are negative, narrow-minded, rude, self-absorbed, into themselves." He said, "Okay." And he said, "Well, so how are the people here?" He said, "Kind of like that." A week later, another gentleman comes to the park, and the guy's sitting there on the park bench again. This guy says the same thing. "Oh, I love your town. This is a great place to live. How long you lived here?" He said, "I've been living here my whole life." He's like, "Well, I think I might want to move here. What are the people like here?" "Well, tell me what the people are like where you're from." He said, "They're positive, they're kind, they're just giving. They give you the shirt off their back. They're open-minded. All they do is just like love. It's really like it's a community that we have here." He said, "So tell me what the people are like here." He says, "They're kind of like that." And that just resonated with me. In both of those separate occasions, well, what is clear is the people that are around you are a reflection of what's inside of you, what you are working on. So for me, I go into a space, whether it's ToBeRe, whether it's Mayo Clinic, whether it's out in the community. All I see is friends. I don't see any enemies. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what you believe in, what your values are. I just see a potential friend. That's all I see. Because every space that I walk into, because of this well-being practice, I'm just trying to give love. I'm living and leading with an open heart, period. So everywhere I go, it's kind of like that. That's what people give back to me. Now, other people may say, "Oh, I know that person, Keith. They're not giving you an open heart." Really? I didn't even notice. I thought they were being loving and kind. Well, they're not. Well, that's their path. My path is to just control what I can control. And what I can control is what I give out into the world. So before I started doing this well-being practice, though, I saw the exact opposite. Just like the first gentleman that I mentioned in that park story, that vacation story, he saw what was inside of him. And that's what I saw too. I saw a world that was completely divided, that was fixated on the things that separate us. And while they were arguing that things be different, they were doing so by creating enemies of the other person. So how could things ever be different and lasting? I don't know if it's possible. I haven't seen it. But I've also seen examples of people that go out into the world and they do good. And they do good by everybody. And that's sustainable. Sign me up for that one. And that is what I've dedicated my practice to, of cultivating that in me. So that I walk out into the world, it's like the last guy. Positive, loving, giving, shirt off their back. It's kind of like that.